Hey, I just received a question just in regards to what is this square window looking thing. So what it basically is a grid guide. Just says it here. It can be found in the View tab here. So what you can do is you can create your own, or there might already be a couple in the actual project itself. Um, let's just create a new one just so you understand how to make one. So I'm just going to keep it as called guide grid 1 for now, because technically really you can't, you have to, all these names have to be unique, so I couldn't create a new one that's called floor plan already. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm just going to keep it as guide grid 1. So this is what will automatically come up. You can change the size of these squares by changing this number. So if I was to change that to, let's just say 20, just makes them a bit smaller. And then the next step you would want to take is just bring the border line halfway between one square. Because what you want to try and do is keep like a crosshair in the middle. So because that number that we just made, the 20, that's now the minimum. See, I can't go any further. That's the minimum it goes. So sort of like that. So that's the smallest square I can make while it's 20. If it was 15, I could make it smaller. And so basically what that is that's 15. So what you want to do is move this, and you can only have one guide grid per sheet. So see how the other one disappeared? Yeah. So anyway, so now that I've done that, so the purpose of a guide grid is to line stuff up per sheet. So when it comes to ground floor and the first floor, ideally it's a nice thing to have the floor plans stay in the same position on the piece of paper. So when I flick to ground floor and the first floor, they're in exactly the same position on that page. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's not really for when you're printing and going through stuff. It's more for when you're on PDF and you're flicking between pages. It just means that the floor plans aren't like one's in the top left hand side of the page, the next one's on the bottom right hand side of the page. Like they're all just in line with each other. So again, what you do is you bring in your view from so if I delete this, we're currently in ground floor plan. So I'd want to bring in ground floor and bring that on. Just as I just explained to you just before. So I haven't clicked into this view. It's just I'm hovering over it right now. And if I click it once and I move it, so I press MM, right, my shortcut is for move, there's certain things that I can't click on. So I can't click on corners or anything like this that's related to the project. But there's two things that I can click on, and that is reference planes. So it automatically snaps to them, and I can click on the grid lines. So what I want to do is typically you use grid lines. You don't always use the reference planes, because you know how earlier today I mentioned that some reference planes get deleted after a while. Yeah, but grid lines don't. Grid lines, you will always keep them in your project. So anyway, I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to click over to there. Sorry, actually, I'm just going to click that. And if that square is in the wrong position, just while I've still got this view selected, just press tab and then control click that box, and then now you can just move it on the sheet just by using the down and left and the right arrow keys to wherever you want on the sheet. So I'm thinking there looks pretty good. It's like nice and central to the page. So now when I go to the first floor plan, I need to change this one to the same one. I need it to be the guide grid one. So as well, it's also worth noting that, see how I click guide grid? Actually, sorry, I'll delete this. And I'll press guide grid and I will select it from here. Did you see that? Okay. Yeah. That position of this box is exactly the same as what it is on here. So if I was to move that box, it would also move it on the ground floor sheet. But this view wouldn't move with it. So that means that I would then again need to move this view to line up with what I just did before. So you don't really want to move this. Once you've got it right in one spot, you want to try and keep that. Unless you really need to change it because your other view isn't working, then you might need to like find a balance between the two. But so I would pin this as well. I don't know if you've used a pin tool much, but it's pretty handy in the sense that like it stops you from accidentally moving it. Yep. So what I want to do is click on this view and click here. Same intersection as what we did before. Click on there. That's it. So again, purpose of this is really just it's to line these two pages up. No, yeah, it's not a printable item. It's just, yeah, it's like reference planes. You can't see it when you print it. Print hard copy and print into PDF, you won't see it. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions on that one? No. Yeah. 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 You only really use it for floor plans. Yep. All right. Cool. That's that. That's guide grids for you. I'll just stop recording that.